Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is the Cromwell. It's a tier 6 British medium tank. It's located on the northeast spawn of Arctic region, and this one is under the command of Mizeanator. Now, our channel has actually provided him with quite a lot of good luck recently. Yep, he's had 2 replays, and in each of the others he actually managed to get a Radley Walters. In fact, in the first replay he might have ended up with a Paul's medal, but for the fact that obviously he decided to let his teammates actually get the kills instead. Well, he's armed with a 75mm gun, which is capable of doing 135 alpha and penetrating 145mm of armour, and that's with the standard rounds, but with the premium ones, which is what he's using, he's got 202mm. In fact, he's only chosen the premium rounds, which is going to kind of make this a rather expensive game. This is a shot on the DSPZ, but there might be somebody willing to come around that corner and get at the Leopard. So he's just going to stay here for the moment. The Cromwell is actually the 827M, that was its designation, otherwise known as Tank Cruiser Mark 8 Cromwell. And it was named after Oliver Cromwell. They started the project in 1940 and they built 4,016 of them, and when the Desert Rats came back to the UK after winning in the desert, they were quite disappointed because they saw all these flat surfaces on the front of the tank and thought, oh no, they've not been listening to us. And that is a major problem actually, because it does have flat surfaces, which enables enemy tanks, especially the German tanks at the time, to gain a purchase and penetrate. It's powered by a Meteor engine, which, as you know, is the tank version of the Merlin engine used in the Spitfires and Hurricanes. It's got 600 brake horsepower, a V12 petrol engine, but it doesn't have a supercharger like the fighter aircraft do. So it's a very nippy tank in many ways. 64 kilometers an hour top speed in the game, and 20 kilometers an hour reverse speed, which is actually not bad. You also have a fairly good ammo capability, 75 shells, and that enemy tank's got really close enough for him to actually proximity spot us. It's a T-37, which is an American light tank. I think he's decided this position is just not good enough, but he might be able to get around the corner and find that T-37 and put him out of the game. Nice handbrake turn. Now, they couldn't fit the high velocity gun as you find in the Comet, but so it doesn't have the same sort of firepower as the Comet. 2,166 hit points per minute, or damage per minute. Standard reload times 3.74 seconds, and we can see here that Mizeanator has got 2.92 seconds, so he's shaved a fair bit off, about less than a second. But that does make a difference to the DPM. It does pump it up quite a bit. There's the T-37. Hello. Yep, first round in, second one to kill. Yep, got him. Unfortunately, T-37 got one back, and now we're being hit by a T-67, and yes, he's getting more hits on us. We need to get into cover quick. Yep, he's got a 76mm gun, which is actually quite accurate. And he's got a fast fire rate as well. Well, say fast, it's accurate, but it's just the fast fire rate that really makes a difference. Now, the game's not going too well. As you can see, our team is falling back to their cap area, and I think he's decided that the best thing he can do is go into siege mode and sit behind all of these bushes and trees and try and defend the cap from here. I know a lot of players have actually had very successful battles by sitting up here. Of course, it does attract enemy Arty fire, and the enemy does have 2 Arty, an M41 HMC and a Fifi. And the Fifi, well, he can put rounds in here every 8 seconds or so, which make life very uncomfortable. But it looks like our team's going to fall back. The Basotto is the only tank that's actually holding the west route. He has got a Hellcat there, But if Mizeanator was to actually go over there and try and help the Hellcat, I think he would soon find that he would be outnumbered. The enemy AMX CLC takes a first round. Go for it again. Didn't get it this time. Now this tank was actually made by Leyland, and so the foreigners out there, you probably don't know who Leyland are, but they've produced a lot of really crappy cars in Britain for many years until eventually they bit the dust because they changed their name and their guise on many circumstances, but it was actually down to the workers at Leyland, not the cars themselves, or some of the cars were quite good. But I'm afraid the workers were constantly going on strike. That made Leyland very inefficient, and some of their cars were pretty terrible because they kept failing. Striv 74 out the game. That's his second kill. And that DSPZ comes into sight and he goes down with 1 round. The ELC's trying to sneak round. Looks like he's after our driller. Just got a hit on our Hellcat, and now an enemy T-37, another one. No, that's the T-67, the one who fired at him. Jackson, off in the distance, gets a hit. That's its average roll. Second shot's a low roll. He's getting good hits here, high roll. And we've lost sight of him. And he did get the kill, so he kept firing at the spot, and he actually did take him out. And look, there's the M41 Semavente. The enemy's really not firing back into this corner, and now he's got 4 kills. They will eventually, though, because there's only 4 of us left. He gets 1 into the Chi-2, and the Chi-2 goes down to our Hellcat. Now, T-67 takes 1 round in the tracks, but didn't pen. That one did pen. T-67's got very thin armour, and so the Hellcats, they were the prototype, really, basically, or not a prototype, but one of the earlier versions of the American tank destroyer. Excelsior, now they do have fairly good armor, so they're going to be a little more difficult to kill. Most of the other tanks are kind of trying to pull back. M4A1. Oh, we got that one. That's his 5th kill. 1 more to get a Top Gun. He got a hit in the Excelsior. He got the hit in the side of it, and it looks like the enemy Arty is focusing on our Hellcat at the moment. We're going for the Excelsior's front, but the premium ammo is really helping because he is getting the pens, and we've just lost our Hellcat. So it's just us left now. Mizeanator's all on his own. If he wins this, he gets a collar ban off. T-67 in distance. Come on, 1 more kill to get a Top Gun. That Excelsior's getting close. He's decided to come out and fight them face to face. Use his speed. The speed is an advantage. Unfortunately, the turret doesn't turn very quickly, and now he's going to be subject to the vagaries of the enemy RT. 1 more kill to kill the Excelsior, get a Top Gun, and he does. Yep, he got him. Now, there's 4 enemies left. 2 of them are Arty, and 2 are tank destroyers, the Hellcat and the T-67. Oh, he actually had a better shot there on the T-67, but the Hellcat's got less hit points, and that's why he was going after him. T-67 was stationary, and that made him easier. Enemy RTs knows where he is, but just having difficulty hitting him because he's just too far away. Another RT round on the way in. Again, misses. And there's the T-67 on the move. Tries to go for the accurate shot. The shell velocity isn't that great. That was a round from the M41, by the way, because that managed to have stun. And here's another round from the 105, the BP. They're splitting up. One's going one side, the other's going the other. Oh, lovely kill on the Hellcat. That's his 7th kill. And another shot from the BP misses. If that had been the M41, he would have been stunned. But he managed to dodge the shell. Now there's only 3 enemies left between him and Nikola Banov. 1 more shell, 1 more kill, and he's got himself another Rattlers. Oh, he's being hit by the T-67. Now, he might have problems here because that guy can out DPM him. Gets another hit in. Can he get the kill shot? Yes, that's a Radley Walters. Well, he did say that we were getting very, very lucky for him, and that's his third Radley Walters in only a matter of a couple of weeks. The other ones were in the Barask and in the Skoda T50, but now he's got one in the Cromwell. Where, like his good luck charm, every time he seems to get a Radleys, he gets a game up on our channel, and as a result, he gets another one later on. He's got one round into the M41. Go for it again. Didn't get it this time. He's still there. Keep firing. So it's a very real possibility he could win this. He's only down to 175 hit points. He's the last one left on his team. Oh, yes, it does have good suspension. Christie suspension on this Cromwell. As you can see, one row of road wheels with an idler and a drive wheel. He's decided to try and get round behind that M41. We just don't know where the Fifi is, though. He's somewhere in this vicinity. Probably near the enemy cap. The problem is the Fifi is a very quick firer, and if he does get clipped at all, it could be fatal for him, because he is down to just or basically a one-shot for the Fifi, if the Fifi can penetrate him, and his armor's not that strong. And there's the M41 making his way back. Gets a tracking shot. Can he get a kill? One shot to get the kill. Yes, he got him. Ammo-racked him. And yep, gets the demolition mark, but now he's got to find that Fifi, and you know, finding Fifis can be dangerous. He's been spotted. The Fifi does have a 390 meter view range. Oh, and he penned. Arty's guns up. He's happy. So close. Well, that was a good game all round for Mizeanator in the Cromwell. Despite the fact that he lost, he actually got an ace tanker, and not any ace tanker. That was his first ace tanker in the Cromwell. You can see you got the scroll underneath, and you only get the scroll the first time. And you also got a demolition expert for blowing up that M41, detonating his ammo, as well as a fire effect for doing more damage than the hit points to his own vehicle. He picked up his second mark of excellence in that game. Yes, amazing game. It really was good performance. A duelist for taking down 2 tanks who damaged him. A bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. In this one, he managed to get 17, which is sort of the normal level you get from an Arty player who tends to get more critical hits than other tanks, simply because they're smacking the enemy tanks with such a high explosive round, as such a big round. But yes, he got a huge number of critical hits in that one. But best of all, he actually picked up a Radley Walters medal for getting at least 8 kills in the game. In fact, he ended up with 9 again and was just short of getting a Pools medal, because unfortunately that Fifi on the enemy team managed to take him out with a penetrating shot, which finished him off. Unfortunately, it hit the rear of Cromwell. And the rear of a Cromwell is only 31mm thick, and of course, as you know, the armor on the penetration on the 105mm round from the Fifi is able to go through that sort of metal. In fact, it'll go through 52mm. So he really didn't have a chance against the Fifi when that Fifi had him by the rear. And so, yes, he did get taken out. He got a high caliber for dealing the most damage in the game, and he got a top gun for getting at least 6 kills, and his win rate was very high indeed. 14,558, which is super unicum and a lot more. If he carries on at this rate, it won't be long before he gets his Pools medal. Especially if he had got the Fifi, he would have got a Pools medal out of this game. So he's very close to popping his Pools medal cherry. And once he's done that, it won't be long before he ends up getting a Racine Heroes medal for killing most of the enemy team. Let's have a look at team score. Well, 3,266 hit points of damage. The nearest player to him had less than half of that in damage. And that was the enemy T-3485 with 1,447. And the third highest damage was the Jackson that he took out with a blind shot, 1,333 hit points. When it came to kills, he easily did the best with 9 kills in this one, and the next highest players only have 1/3 of that, and that was the Hellcat with 3 kills, and the Fifi on the enemy team who actually claimed him as well as one of his kills. And then there was a whole bunch of tanks with 2 kills apiece. And when it came to base XP, even though he was on the losing team, he still ended up with the highest base XP in the game. So he's got the top in all 3 columns, even though he lost the game. And that takes some doing. 954 base for him. And the second highest was the enemy Striv, who actually picked up a patrol duty and 723 base. 618 base went to the T-34-85 on the enemy team. So top in all the 3 columns, but he still lost. But it was a great game. Let's have a look at the detail report. 44 shots fired, 36 direct hits on the enemy, 29 penetrations. It really did help that he had the premium ammo, but that is going to come back and bite him, as you'll see later. 3,266 hit points of damage, of which 1,664 were at more than 300 meters. That's because he went up into the sniper's nest and started picking off the enemy as they started coming towards the cap, which made it easier for him. But he did have some really good shots, especially on blind hits. 7 hits received from the enemy, 6 of them penetrated. Yeah, I said the armor on this tank is not particularly strong. In fact, it's actually fairly weak. We will go through the armor so you'll actually see that in a short while. 4 hits received from the enemy by way of splash damage. Yes, the enemy Arty was after him with a vengeance. They did get very close, but they just couldn't nail him down until that last shot by the Fifi finished him off. 3 enemy vehicles spotted, 12 enemy vehicles hit and damaged. So there was only 3 enemy tanks he never got to shoot at. And 9 enemy vehicles were destroyed. He earned 46,617 credits on a premium count for the battle, 4,925 for courageous resistance. That's because he got an epic or battle hero medal in a losing or drawn game. 51,542 credits altogether, and after ammo resupply and repair, he still ended up with a profit, but only a small one, 6,335 credits. If he'd been on a free-to-play account, he would have actually lost. 1,431 XP, 781 for courageous resistance, took away 2,212 experience points altogether. So let's have a quick look at the armor profile and modules for the Cromwell. Here's the armor profile for the Cromwell. As you can see, it's a lot of flat surfaces around this vehicle. There was only a small amount of angling on the front, and I think they were a bit disappointed when they saw these flat surfaces because they thought, yeah, that would make it easier for the Germans to take them out. The other reason is that it doesn't have much in the way of thickness of armor. The turret's got the best armor with 76.2 millimeters effective armor, but it is very flat-sided. Again, around the driver's area, it's only 63.5. The sloped armor here is 25 millimeters, but it actually comes out at 32.8. And this bit at the front here, 57.2, coming out at 62. And the lower plate is, well, if you see it up, it's very thin, but it's only 25 millimeters angled back, so he's got 36. So really from the front, it is fairly easy for a penetration by a Panzer IV or a Panther or a Tiger tank for that matter. And in fact, if they did spot enemy tanks, it was really to try and get the information back to their teammates or their colleagues so that they could whistle up a Firefly or a batch of M4s who could then finish them off. The Cromwells themselves, really on their own, did not have the ability to take on the enemy effectively, even though they had the 75mm gun. The problem was that they were very vulnerable on armor. The side armor on this tank is 42.9 or 43 millimeters, you might say, coming out about 60, and 44.5 there, coming out about 60 again. Sides of the turret, 63.5, coming out at 74. Yeah, because there's a slight angling in the turret. You can see there. You can see it from above. Coffin shape. That's not very good. The cupola, you can hit the cupola if you were aiming at it, but I would say why bother, because you could probably go through the armor anywhere else on the tank. And if you look at the sides, you can see, and the top of the tank, you can see easily to penetrate it from Arty. 14 millimeters on top, 20 millimeters on top of the turret. So you can see from the angle the Fifi fired at him in that battle, he would have hit anywhere on the rear of the tank and easily gone through anywhere on the armor there. So he really didn't stand a chance. The only good bit about this tank is that the road wheels, which are Christie suspension type road wheels, so they're much bigger, means that they actually act as spaced armor. And so really anywhere along the sides of the vehicle, you are actually getting that effect. And it's bumping up the initial armor of 39.7 on the sides, plus the 20mm from the road wheels, giving you 86mm. So you've got much more protection on the sides of a Cromwell than you would from the actual side of the vehicle as it is. So, I mean, even though it's showing 91 effective there with only 44, it's still something to consider with the Cromwell. If we look at the, that's the collision model, let's have a look at the life model. Yeah, any 75mm round is just going to go straight through that armor, no problem whatsoever. So it is vulnerable to German tanks. Let's have a quick look at the modules. Okay, well, driver up front, he's on the left-hand side. And this is a British tank after all. And then we've got the driver's mate operating the machine gun on the right-hand side. The gunner is, there's a big ammo rack just behind them, by the way. Huge ammo rack just behind. That's the deep store of ammo. We've got the driver, the gunner rather, in the turret directly behind the driver's mate. The tank commander is behind him on the right-hand side as well. Normally it would be the other way round. You'd have the gunner over here and the tank commander over here. But in this particular configuration, they had it this way round instead. We've got the tank commander's got the radio right next door to him. In fact, that's standard British practice. You'd have the radio very close to the commander so he can make decisions about what the tank needs to do next. You can see the loader is on the left-hand side, shoving the shells into the breech as and when needed. And there's another deep store directly behind the back of the turret. So if you're aiming to try and get the ammo racks, well, it's difficult because there's only very narrow parts or places where they're showing. So difficult to ammo rack a Cromwell, but you can usually get shells in on the engine deck, just above the wheels, and the shell will go straight through into the engine or the fuel tank. So you might be able to set fire to one. Very difficult to get the ammo rack because of the narrowness of these modules here. But fairly easy to get the crew because remember, the crew are... the armor is not that particularly strong around the crew, but the armor is stronger on the turret than it is on the actual hull of the vehicle. So you have to bear that in mind as well. But that's where the modules are on the Cromwell. So thanks again to Mizeanator, or Mizeanator, Mizeanator I think we'll call him, for sending in this replay. The thing is that, of course, we featured him again on the channel. It's more than likely he's going to get another replay in a very short while, either getting another Radley's or getting a Pools medal next time, or he'll get a 3 mark on one of the tanks he's playing. He seems to be having a lot of luck with our channels, so good luck to you on your next battle. Hopefully you'll be sending us in something in the near future, and we'll be featuring you again. If you enjoyed that replay, please give this video a like, do subscribe to our channel, leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm, and thank you for watching.